You are listening to Two Heels and a Face Wrestling Podcast, a podcast where we believe wrestling is a buffet and there's something there for everyone. Make sure you're following us on all social media such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook under Two Heels and a Face. That's number 2 Heels and a Face. Make sure you check out our website, twoheelsandaface.com.
Era, 2 Heels and a Face.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Two Heels and a Face Wrestling Podcast. Hopefully by the time you're listening to this, actually, I did publish that episode today, Chris. I know I've been slacking, but we just recorded with Tyler Vols of AAW. He just stepped through the buffet line, so that episode should be out as well. After you listen to this magnificent episode, you should go check that one out as well, because it took us like 4 or 5 extra days to get that going. Hopefully you've seen some social posts by now.
It almost took us as long as it took us to schedule to get this episode out.
No. 7 years. 7 years of the making, 7 extra days of us saying, "Oh shit, I forgot to do this," and we'll get the episode out. But Chris, we're staying within the realm of the current AAW family, but we got a different show to talk about today. A completely different show. It's got some wild stuff on it. Been seeing a ton of promos about, like, every time a match is announced, there's a cool video that comes out. Firstly, before we introduce our guest, Chris, how are you doing today, man?
Doing well, man. I'm excited to, as we plan our next show, the one that we're going together to, this being one of them. It's always exciting to talk about, what's to come, and you never know what you're gonna get when you go to the Forge.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get when you go to Joliet. That's what I'll say. I'll leave it at that, because I don't want to slander anything about the town. Because our guest is from Joliet, Joliet, Mexico City, depending on the day. But yes, and also we're going to finally follow up on. We're going to go to that Wrestle Friends event at Wicker. Chris, we forgot to talk about this last time, but I went to the wrong Emporium. I tried to go to our new friend Nate, who I'm not sure exactly what it is. It seems like he does many different things, some form of digital media. But he invited me and us to Wrestle Friends Emporium, Wicker Park. I got on the bus and I showed up at Logan Square Emporium, and I had a beer by myself. I Glansberged it at the bar. And then I realized I was the wrong Emporium, and I took my old ass home. So that's what happened. But we're going to do a redemption tomorrow. Probably by the time you're listening to this, we'll have already done that event. But Chris, are you looking forward to that?
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's always going to be a fun time going to Emporium, and I'll make sure I won't go to the wrong one, and I'll meet you up at the right one.
Okay. I won't. There's many they're on the same street. The graphics are hard to read. There's many reasons, but really it's just I'm old. So let's talk to an even older gentleman right now. No, I'm joking. Older gentleman who's in way better shape than I ever will be. Let's put it at that. But yeah, Chris, do you want to introduce
all roads lead back to Joliet?
Yeah.
All right, our next guest, Ego, Robert Anthony.
Boys, you start this up hot with me. No. First you talk bad about Joliet. Then you call me old. Wow. This right here is the reason why Alfonso Gonzalez and Pedro Hernandez hate you two. They hate you two.
They don't hate us.
Oh, really? Because they said make sure the recording this time. 2-hour podcast with them didn't hit the record button. You better be recording this.
Do you see your the top left?
Oh yeah, I see it. I see it, and I heard you talking crap about Joliet, and I heard you talking crap about my age.
Just fun. I would never. I just said interesting things happen there. Is that not true? Sure. It's an interesting town. It's got a little bit of the old, mixed in, a little bit of the new. Like, I'm talking historical old.
Brother, the Forge survived a tornado. Okay, we live.
That's true. All right. This is your second show. How was the fallout of the first one? We never got to talk after.
After the first Forge,
Yeah.
brother, the day that show ended, like when the ring was out of there, I actually stayed back, sat on the stage for a few minutes, and I was so glad that it was over because it drained me. The promotion of that show, the stress of that show, the stress of Jimmy Hart. I don't know if I told you that whole story. The first match, we didn't have a ring bell, right? So we had to rush and go get a ring bell before the ending of the first match. It was just such hectic, and I didn't get to enjoy it, right?
Okay.
Fully, right? Someone was calling me every 5 seconds to come upstairs. But I was so happy that it was over. Took a deep breath, and I felt really good from it. And not jumping ahead, but before I left, the owner of the Forge brought me into his office, opened up a book, boom. He goes, pick a date for the next one. Let's do it now. And I said, you got to give me a few hours because I am not doing this today. They're like, he's like, let's do this again. And it was just a success, man. I felt good. I felt drained, but I felt good. There's a lot of inside stories from that day. It's pretty wild.
That's great. And so there was fulfillment as well, like relief.
I felt great.
Fulfillment. Okay.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
It was great, man. It was really, really great. I learned a lot, right? Going into this next one, I learned a lot how not to make myself overworked, overstressed.
Okay.
So I have no clue where your blanket's at. This is why I'm in the garage. And they still find me in the garage.
If you're watching on YouTube, yes, this is the infamous podcast It's in a Garage. There's bikes hanging in the background.
Yeah.
It looks like a garage. I mean,
it's a garage with a couch and a fire table.
A Midwest garage, man. It's a magical place.
This is where I go to escape, and they still find me.
Have you heard the song "In the Garage" by Weezer? It might be a very fitting song. Okay, that might be a little too light on the. You seem heavier rock, but
I listen to it.
Okay,
but yeah, no, man, that first Forge show, man, it taught me a lot about promoting. It taught me a lot about not spreading myself too thin.
Okay,
right, delegating. Right. So this next one, I have a lot of people working behind the scenes to help me out graciously. You know what I mean? So this one should be good, at least on my mental.
Great. That's all. It's good that you're
differentiate.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to ask, how does it differentiate from, putting a show at the Forge versus the baseball stadiums and the farm shows?
Yeah, man. So like this one's a little bit of a production, right? I look at the Forge as the big show of the year, because there's a lot going into it. We're live streaming IWTV, so we have to deal with that. There's a lot more people on them, right? The baseball shows, they're 3 matches, and it's just us trying new things, having a good time. The bros, Trevor, Coda, Jeremy, Alfonso Gonzalez, the bullies, the ones that bully me, they like to joke that I have different wrestling universes, right? The farm, it's its own universe. The baseball shows are its own universe, and the Forge its own universe. They never connect, right? But they all do their own little separate things, right? So the Forge, the way I say this is that in order to get on the Forge, you have to do baseball, right? I got to get to know you. You got to do the small shows. And setting up the baseball shows, it's super easy. I asked the boys, what do you want to do? How do you want to have fun? And then we lock it down when we really get the Forge. It's more of a serious thing where all eyes are on it. You know what I mean? So,
okay. Are there any stories you can share? Sorry if I'm skipping.
Go ahead.
Are there any stories that you can share that we would never ask for anything or any dirt or anything? We would not ask for that. But are there any stories you can share? Like the ring bell is a good tidbit. Yeah. Any like whirlwinds backstage where like you were just kind of piecing things together right as the match was about to start, or anything like that, or any crazy situations?
Yeah. One of the big ones was the first Forge show. There was supposed to be an intermission, and the match before intermission, right? Live streaming, you have a window, and you have to stay in this window of time. And if you go out of that window, it costs a lot of money. Right. So, because they have to pay for the extra time on the server and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So, the match before intermission, I got frantically called up upstairs, and the boys at IWTV said, "You're going to go over." And I said, oh no. And I said, how do we fix this? And they go, don't do an intermission. And I was like, all right. And then I just had to run around and get a word to the next match that thought they had like 15 more minutes. I'm like, you're next. Get ready. And then I had to go tell Colt Cabana there was no intermission, which did not go over well because that's where he lives, is on that merch table. And I was like, I'm sorry, but there is no intermission. You can go out there now and go hang out. But that was, and I apologized to the match that was up next because they were just like chilling. They were like, yeah, we got some time. I'm like, you have no time. You have 4 minutes. Get ready.
Oh my God.
And then that turned out well because, and that was another learning lesson because I learned, so I don't have security, my own security at the Forge. The Forge has their own security. And they have a lot of rules. And the rule I didn't know was they don't allow re-entry. Right. So if I did do intermission and people went outside, there would have been a big like disagreement. Right. So I was able to fix that going into this next one where like people could go out, take a breather or whatever and come back in. And that's going to be okay because they're a concert venue. Right. So it's a different set of rules. So I was able to play with that. But that was the big one, was like running on the fly of no intermission and keeping this thing going. And then when we go into October, same thing, no intermission. We're going to go straight through. It keeps everything fast. It keeps everything on time, so I don't have to pay that IWTV feed. You know what I mean?
We don't want to go over budget.
No, brother. Ooh. You asked what's the difference between baseball and farm and the Forge? It's the budget. It's times freaking 4. The budget is wild for the Forge, but I'm trying to give a premium product. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give something that is different, and you got to spend some money on it. So that's the trade-off, I guess.
Yeah, Chris, what question were you going to ask before I cut you off?
No, I think I was going to reference the different universes of Eagle Pro, right? The farm and all that, and like I got to experience. I think I did 2 baseball shows this season, and I gotta say, like as a fan, I was like, this is not what I expected. You know, and I'll say this, like hearing Trevor being cheered,
babyface Trevor, slightly politely, is wild. He's baby
something
face.
that I did not think I've ever would witness, but yes.
You know how that came about was I told Trevor, because baseball is where you go to try new things, and I said, I have a challenge for you because no one thinks you could do it. I go, when you're on these baseball shows, I want you to be a babyface. See if you could do it. Get cheered. And he was like, okay, let's try it. And it worked. It worked beautifully. It was a good time.
Wow. Yeah, that's insane. I remember Chris told me that story, and I was like, yeah, that is some multiverse of madness shit right there.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
but
cool.
there is one story from the Forge I can't tell.
Okay.
It's wild.
Okay.
That's an in-person conversation. And when I tell you the story, you will be crying tears of laughter from what happened. But I can't, the statute of limitations on what happened and the lies that I had to tell. It's I had to tell some lies. I did tell some lies.
Okay.
It was wild.
Just you were steering that ship that night. Whatever needed to be done, sounds like it was done to get the show done. You know, show must go on.
I told some white lies, some big ones.
One day. But there's more uniqueness coming up. This show is labeled the Return to the Forge, right? That's not the Forge 2.
No, Return to the Forge.
Return to the Forge. Okay.
I love it.
And October 5th, the Forge is in Joliet on Cass Street. Tickets at 22 Cass Ave. Sorry, I put street on the agenda. I'm wrong.
It's all good.
And theforgelive.com is where you can get tickets.
Absolutely. Going into this one, I knew I had to top myself, and the way that I was doing this was with the online promos.
Yes.
People ask me a lot, why don't I run monthly? And the reason I don't run monthly is because there's too much wrestling in Chicago, and it has to be something special. And what I always look for is, what is nobody doing? And the main thing nobody does, which I'm probably just, it's whatever because I'm doing it, people see it, is my style of promoting and my style of announcing matches, right? And I feel that we're doing a really good job offering an alternative to like guys sitting in a car cutting a promo or just having someone standing there. Like when I did this, I said, everyone that cuts a promo has to do it at the Forge. That was my number one rule. I said, if you're cutting a promo, you got to meet up with me at the Forge. My guy, Art by Art, shoots it and edits it. You're not going to use your cell phone. We're going to use a camera. We're going to edit it. We're going to do it justice. But I wanted to make the Forge a destination. I wanted the awning to always be in every shot.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens, you see the Forge. We're making the venue a part of the show, right? And nobody does that, right? And it's like nobody's sitting outside of Logan Square taking promos in front of the Logan Square door, okay? This was something I wanted to do different. And I also wanted my fingerprints on how we tell these different stories. With Coda and Tupu, right? We went through a bunch of iterations of what this promo should be. Originally, we had a lowrider, and we were going to have the lowrider roll up to the Forge, and then things. And I said, you know what, Coda? I got this crazy idea. I was like, we're going to do this water bucket thing, and everyone was on board, right? So something outside the lines like that. With I do surprises, right? I'm a weirdo, right? I'm a real weirdo. Last Forge, Coda did not know he was wrestling Homicide until I put out the video.
Right.
I surprised him, right? Did the same thing with Alfonso. Alfonso thought he was doing a match with Bricked Up Robbie Reeves. And he didn't know he was wrestling Dirty Dango, a.k.a. Fandango, until I put the video out. Today, the Bros did not know they were wrestling Top Flight until I put the video out, right? But in our group messages, I'm like, bro, this is going to be great. And I hype it up to them and do like fun little things because I like doing that with my crew because we all get a kick out of it. It's all fun, right?
Yeah.
It's fun. So with the Bros, we did the video today, okay? Spoiler alert, there's an alternative ending. There's an ending that did not show because I can't tell the story because it's not my story to tell. There was a match booked. It couldn't happen for one reason or another. But it was booked for 3 months, okay? And there was a caveat that this might not happen, and we needed a backup plan. And I told the Bros, I don't know what your backup plan, because that was a shoot. I don't have a backup to this match. Let's cut an alternative ending. And the alternative ending was what you saw today when I released it, where I said, I don't know what your match is, but I'll put out a match graphic. That's a shoot, right?
Okay.
But there is an alternative ending. I'm going to text it to you. And I had a match graphic.
Okay.
I can't say what it is.
We can't say what it is.
You just have to react. Okay? Because this will happen.
Okay.
And I said to the Bros, I said, no matter what happens on the Forge, Return to the Forge, I need you to wrestle a team you've never wrestled before. I refuse to do something that everyone has already done. Yeah. Right?
And they've wrestled a lot of people.
Oh, brother, it's been a headache.
Yeah.
This tag match has been a giant 4-month headache. And we'll get to the Top Flight in a minute, but this was my original idea.
Okay.
Sent. Check your phones. Tell me what your reaction to this was. They're checking their phones.
Yeah.
Wild, right?
That is. Because that team, I won't say. I'm trying to be vague. That team.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That is like, yeah, you're sifting through the year. I mean, they're still so young and they've wrestled so many people. So you're sifting through the catalog, and yeah, that would have been that's a show stealer right there. That's absolutely a show stealer.
In your opinion, are both matches on the same level, or do you feel one is higher than the other?
I kind of like the. Let me send it to Chris. Hold on.
Oh, he didn't get it.
I think
I
you
did
might
not
have said
get
to
it.
me.
I'm
Oh, I
holding
thought we
my
were all
breath
in the
here.
group chat. I thought we were all in the group chat together. I thought we were all in the group chat together.
No. It was just me.
Okay. Oh, Chris, watch. I need to see your face when you get this. Send it to him.
I'm sending it to him. I don't need
Okay.
He said okay. He said okay. Wild, right?
That is yeah, that's wild.
I don't want to even I want to say a word to describe them, but I don't even want to because it might
Can't
give
do
away.
it. Can't do it because I will do it. They owe me one. Then they told me they owe me one. There's no heat, right? There's no heat. There's no ill will. Just things happen out of our control. And the alternative match was given to me out of good grace and as hey, the wrestling fan, Top Flight versus the Bros, wild, right? The amount,
yes,
it's great. I'm not taking away from the match that announced, right? I feel they're both on the same level of heightness, right? The Bros and Top Flight are going to steal the show.
I think not to cut you off. I think the current is better, and I think the current is better only because I think the Chicago scene has seen Top Flight a little bit more, and it's they probably would have wrestled each other, but Bang Bros just came after them, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's Top Flight was sort of that Bang Bros team before the Bang Bros arrived on the scene. So I kind of like this one a little bit better, to be honest.
Yeah. And those four have been wanting to wrestle each other for a very long time. And it's fell through at least 3 times that I know of.
Okay.
And now we were lucky enough that all the stars aligned. And it literally, on Instagram, someone wrote, "How?" And my response was 3 text messages and a bat signal. That is not. That's not a lie. Okay. There was 3 text messages, and I legit threw up a bat signal. I was like, I'm in bad. I was like, I need this. This is gonna be real bad for me because I don't have another team. And the alternative that I said I refuse to do until it's a day of the show was they were like, let's just do Bang Matthews 2. And I said, no. I said, absolutely not. I refuse to do that. The only way I'm doing that is if this is the day of the show and I still don't have anything, right? But this worked out perfectly. I'm super hyped for it. But the match I just sent you will happen. It will happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be great.
Okay. You went from filet mignon to still an ultra rare cut of Kobe beef. There's still amazing cuts of meat.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Bros were because they knew that that I almost said it. They knew that they knew that match fell through, and they're like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, I got it. Don't worry about it. And they both texted me at 12:04 whenever I announced it. They're like, wild. I was like, yeah, I know. Let's kill it. Let's do a good job. But
go ahead.
Yeah. No, good.
I love how excited you are about it. I can feel the excitement honestly through the screen. And what I was going to say too about those promos is I felt like everyone I watched, it was their own. You can tell your senses of humors are baked into all of those.
Yeah.
So
good. I'm gonna tell you something good.
It's just you're having so much fun, and you can honestly tell in all of those.
The only one I cannot take credit for is the Chico promo. So I give Chico the most amount of shit.
Yes.
And I was like, Chico, we need to think of a promo for you. And the legit, there he is. I can't believe you have a photo of hands. Wow. The legitness of Chico cutting 17 takes of a promo, that's not fake, right? So when I told Chico, I'm like, hey, man, we need to come up with a promo for you. He goes, what if my promo is me messing up? I go, you're a genius. I'm like, meet up with the Forge today, now. And I was like, we need to do this now. And I've shown people there's an 8-minute version of that promo because we had to take out so much. There's an 8-minute version of Chico messing up this promo. And the inside baseball, I was like, all right, Chico, we're just going to start this out and see what happens. Cut the promo and we'll take whatever you mess up and edit it in. Bro, his first take, he cut the most perfect, beautiful promo in the world. I said, how did what? I go, when we tell you to cut a promo in real life, you can't do it.
Right.
But when I tell you to mess up, you cut like the most perfect promo you've ever heard in your life. I go, is this real life? Are you messing with me or what? And yeah, but there's an 8-minute version that's hilarious.
Yeah,
and then that's the only one I can't take credit for. He truly came up with that, and a lot of it was on the fly, just me and him reacting off of each other and stuff like that. So it was really fun.
That's awesome. And then you like it got mentioned like in another promo too. You're like, yeah, Chico took 17 takes.
That was the quota promo. 82 takes.
82 takes. So like takes. It feels like they're carrying over into the next one. And the Coda, I like how Coda also too had a moment where he made fun of himself too, or even like the lowrider idea. I feel like it's him making fun of himself. So like everyone's very, very on board with like the comedy of it, which is funny.
So I really only do those promos with people that are local because I'm like, hey, come spend your Saturday or Sunday with me real quick, do this thing. I didn't want anyone to drive far, but when I mentioned like Tupu, I told him the original idea with the lowrider. He's like, I would have drove from Iowa to do this. And I was like, dang. I would have felt bad. Like, you just came over just to do this one promo. Because, like, the whole idea was, like, Coda's outside the forge cutting a promo, and this lowrider pulls up, and it's Tupu. And he, like, talks some shit, and then he, like, spits water at him. At the ending, it's still us throwing water on him. I was, like, married to this water idea for some reason. And then he gets back in the car, and he's like, see you at the forge, loser. And he's like this pimp with all these girls in the car. But he's like, I would have drove really far to do this. I was like, but like, the thing with me is I listen to a lot of the boys and girls, and I ask them what their dream matches are, or what do they want to do, what are they kind of what's going on, and I try to make it a reality if I can, And each Forge show, there's a giant drama or a giant story of me trying to book talent or things not working out,
Yeah.
And when it does work out, it's beautiful. When it not, you kind of get let down and kind of whatever. But I'm really happy with this card. I'm really happy with it. And there's a lot of new faces on it, like the Tracy Smothers Cruiserweight Scramble.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, the second one. There's a trophy. Oh, my God. The trophies should be here in a couple days.
Wow.
Kazarni, Sin Bodhi, you know Kazarni from WWE?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was on WWE. He did the carnival gimmick, Spoken Carney. He is an amazing tattoo artist and artist. He sculpted it and 3D printed it for me. The trophy, it looks amazing. I'm gonna post it in a couple days when it shows up. But that scramble match was booked because I was sitting in the crowd at the last AAW show, and I saw Ace Perry, David Ali, Quintero. And just destroy it. And I was like, I'm in love with these three guys. And I said, and I still had holes to fill for the Forge. And I said, I want all of you on this. And I built that match around them. And I also love Gary J. Gary J is one of my new friends that I met at AEW. And I was like, I'm building this around you guys. And because I just loved their work. I love what they did. And they're going to kill it as well. So, like, a lot of this is just, that's a spoiler. That's a teaser of it.
The sneak peek. Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful, this trophy.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, you get to see that teaser. But that's another new thing. No one ever has had a trophy for a scramble match ever. It's usually kind of it has a role on a card, right? The scramble match. Yeah. But it's never important enough to have a trophy. But you're saying, fuck it, it should be.
Yeah, because I love Tracy, right? Yeah. I told the guys in a scramble match, I go, please do me a favor, look up Tracy Smothers, and most importantly, look up people from all generations talking about him when he passed away. You have, Bruce Pritchard, Jim Ross, like legends talking about Tracy Smothers and what he meant to the wrestling business. Okay. And not only that, but my generation grew up with him. as someone that had success, but got it all taken away and was never bitter. And he took time to talk to younger guys, and he watched all the matches. Like when he would see me, he would always say, like, you know, oh man, how's school? Because I know you're a school teacher. He knew things about everyone.
Yeah.
And he meant a lot to everyone. And when someone's like that, I like to think of a way to always keep their memory alive. Like for me, one of my traveling partners and my brother's brain damage from CZW, Marvin, every year around his birthday and when he passed, I post about him and I say what I mean, what he means to me. And I don't want that to die, right? JC Bailey, the same person, what he means. And I'm really big on that. If you made an impact in my life and you passed away, I don't want you to be forgotten, right?
Yeah.
So Tracy loved professional wrestling. He loved the young guys. He loved that. And in my sense, I'm like, he loves cruiserweight stuff, right? Because he used to cut a promo. He's like, the guys in the last match, which was always like the cruiserweight flip match, he's like, he'd always cut a live promo and said, they stole all my moves, so I'm not doing any of that. So in heart, he's this cruiserweight, right? He wrestled a bear. He wrestled a legit bear. And so I was like, I'm going to come up with this thing, the Cruiserweight Scramble. And the first one, I wanted a trophy. And I didn't have time or the idea to get it done. Like I was going to do a cowboy boot, like a glass cowboy boot. And the prices for it were insane. I wanted to do a plaque, but I didn't think that was it. And Kazarni made this gold statue of me as like a present, right? And I was like, and I was thinking about it, and I went downstairs to my basement. I go, fuck, I'm going to get him to do this trophy for Tracy, and every year I'm going to get a new one. And it just came out perfect. It was one of those like things that I was like super proud of doing. But yeah, like you said, you know, trophy doesn't make its way into Scramble. This is a little bit different, right? I'm going to do it every year, and I'm going to get a new trophy every year. And everyone in the match that's young, I'm going to ask a personal favor. Please do research on Tracy, right? Keep people like that memory alive that necessarily didn't make it on TV all the time, but he means something, right? And that's what wrestling is. Leave it better than you found it, and keep the good people's memory going, right? Because a lot of people like to talk about the guys that do bad, right? The people that like are big screw ups. People like to talk about that because the drama lives. Rarely do you get to listen to the stories of the good guys, and he's one of them. So that was my thing, and all those guys graciously just learned about it, and it's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to keep rambling.
No. That's how that's exactly how the memories keep that person alive. Exactly. That's what,
yeah.
My wife's father passed away. He had a whole at his funeral. It was a whole picture of all his quotes.
Yeah.
Like that he said throughout his life. So like things like that. So like, yeah, that's perfect. Alfonso Gonzalez versus Fandango. I feel like we need to talk more about that.
Yes, sir.
Is there going to be some kind of? I feel like a dance off. There's got to be a little like that's only the beginning. I don't know what those two are going to cook up.
Those two have full creative control.
Okay,
right? They can do whatever they want. Here's the thing with me. A guy by the name of Carmine DeSpirito. He used to run in Milwaukee. He gave me my first chance outside of Chicago to either succeed or fail. And that's something I never forgot. And at the time of the first Forge, Coda Hernandez wasn't getting big matches. People were kind of hesitant about trusting him. And I said, you're getting Homicide, and if you fail, that's on you. I think you're ready. Sink or fail. And I think Alfonso Gonzalez is on that level where people need to start giving him the chance to sink or fail. So let's say Company A, because I don't want to call anyone out, right? Company A books the name Fandango. Do they give them to Alfonso? Probably not.
Probably not.
Right? But I'm not worried about him failing because I know he's going to do well. But at least I'm going to give him the chance. And when you trust people like that, that's when they put out the best work possible. So that match came out of me telling Alfonso, I believe in you. You should be doing more than what you are. And now prove everyone wrong. So those two I have high hopes for. Dango and myself have known each other for decades. when I signed my WWE developmental contract, we both did it on the same day. Granted, he was from Maine, living in Georgia. I was Chicago, going to Georgia for my tryout. We had our tryout together, so we had that bond. We have that bond, and we were a tag team too. When we were in developmental, so me and him have that bond of like we came up from nothing together. So when I asked him, I said, "Hey, I would like to bring you in. I got this kid, blah blah blah." He was like, "Yeah, whatever you need." So me and him are good friends. So that's how that match came about. I have high hopes for it. I think it's going to be amazing. Again, another first time matchup. I believe this is Dango's first time on an indie in Chicago. I could be wrong, but I'm going to stick with that. Okay. But yeah, I'm hyped for it. It's one of those things that I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the biggest names I feel like Alfonso has ever wrestled. Yeah, and I think you're right in the sense Alfonso's really good at what he does, but it is easy to pigeonhole him into the like match after the scramble that's very high comedy, lower work rate, whereas like Fandango does have the comedy aspect, but the man is in phenomenal shape too. And so it's not like they're going to just be dancing the whole time. It might start off like that, but then it's going to be wrestling after that.
Oh yeah, it's going to be good. I'm really hyped for
it. Definitely. So Chris, looking at the rest of this, what are some other things that stick out to you?
I mean, with that Fandango and that match that we just talked about, Alfonso Gonzalez, Fandango, I think that has the potential to have like all the bits and pieces that kind of you need to get a palate cleanser. Maybe I don't know where that's going to be in the card.
Yeah.
But then you also look at Cota Hernandez and Tupu, right? Which that's going to be. It's just gonna. I think again, Cota Hernandez getting an opportunity, and also Salman Tupu in that space too of just wanting to prove himself. And I think it's one of those matches that, as I'm looking and we talking about this card, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. Oh shit, this is gonna be great. So it gives us that buffet style of wrestling that we look for sometimes in cards. So
everyone on my card, I think,
Cota, yeah.
Right. I believe in all of them. And I believe they could do something better once they leave, right? Indie wrestling. I am the biggest fan of Tupu, the biggest fan of the world. When I first met, he's got another guy first met at AAW. Yeah. He was still doing like the Samoan thing. And he was dabbling into this like Big Daddy T, like pimp character. And I remember I had a conversation with him. He didn't know me. Right, he knew of me, but he didn't know me. I had a conversation with him. I go, listen. I go, the uphill battle that you're facing is that you're Samoan, but you're not a part of the family. I go, that role is locked down to family members only, and Samoa Joe. I go to get in. You're gonna have to do something wild. And I go, the problem is you're Big Daddy T when you walk through the curtain, but when you wrestle, you're just Samoan wrestler number 4. And he took that advice and changed it the very next time. And he always did something new. And I'd give him a little critiques and he changed it, but he made it his own. And from that moment on, I was like, he listens and he wants something. And he turned into this whole new character because he knew he had to. I'm the biggest fan of him. I think he should be working everywhere, every time. Right. So I believe that match is going to be fun. Another first time matchup for those two. You already know what I think about Cota. He's a giant bully, but he's still very, very talented. Yeah. And then I don't want to jump ahead if you have more questions, but
no, go for it. We have Misuke versus 2D Lin.
This is where I'm going, right?
Okay.
I have a thing that what I hate is there's only one women's match on a show.
Okay.
I hate it. I think I'm not going to say disrespectful. I'm going to say it's uncreative. Okay. And it's hard to find girls in the Midwest that haven't wrestled each other 150 times.
Yeah.
Right. I'm always on a lookout for new people. And my thing when I booked 8 matches, I said 2 of these have to be women's matches and they have to be high profile, really good women's matches. 2D is someone that I saw at when I was in NWA. And I was like, you did very well. Gary J also put her over to me when I asked him. I said, hey, I need somebody. Who do you guys got out there? And he said, Tootie. I go, oh, I forgot. She's great. So so Tootie and Missa came out because I think those are going to have the killer matches. And Lily, how do I say it?
Pescadita?
Pescadita? Yeah, I'm terrible with.
I'm the only non-Mexican person here, so you guys got.
Yeah, I know that's my fault.
Half or full.
Lily is someone that came out of SCW, the Jason Hades Steve Boz training, and I was like, you're great. And I was like, you and Amita are going to kill it, right? And she's someone new that I recently started booking to watch and see how she does, and I think she's awesome. I think she's going to be one of the few that are going to break out and really do something. I'm really, really high on Lily.
Yeah, you're right. There's a smaller pool.
It's very small.
Pool.
It's very, very small.
Yeah.
But it's giving the girls something to do that they not going to do the next weekend and feel special about it. Do I tell the story?
There's always full of. That's why we need the podcast back, because
yeah, I know. I'll tell the story because it'll never happen. No one will ever be able to book it because I tried to book it. Okay. Before Tootie Lynn, the match was supposed to be Missa Kate versus Kelly Kelly. Wild, right? Wild, right? So I know Kelly from developmental, and again I had to deal with agents, which sucks. And the agent was trying to talk me hard into an autograph signing only, and I wasn't going for it. And I said, I have this idea. Without spoiling, whatever, because it's whatever. I go, here's my idea. It's going to be nothing, but I need to promote Kelly Kelly versus Missa Kate in a wrestling match. I have to. And I had this whole elaborate story where she was going to be safe. Everything was going to be good. And it was just a lot of cold feet. It was a lot of doubt because she hasn't wrestled since 2012 or later or whatever.
Oh, and so she'd be fairly rusty, but still.
Yeah. They were like, we'll do an autograph signing. I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like,
yeah.
It's not what I want. I want to promote something wild. And I had multiple run-ins of like stars for that match, all ready to go. I had a bat signal up trying to talk her into it. A very famous bat signal was like, you will do okay.
You are Officer Gordon.
Brother. Oh my God. To protect everyone involved, I can't tell you my bat signals, but I'm telling you right now, when I throw up a bat signal, it's a very famous bat signal that's like, he's okay. We'll be okay.
Okay.
But I'm gonna get yelled. No, I'm not. But that was one of my ones that crazy idea, right? Crazy idea. I love Kelly Kelly. She's great. Her agent isn't as bad as Jimmy Hart's agent. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, Jimmy Hart's agent is the worst. Here, you want a Ford story? Here's a Ford story. Sure. Jimmy Hart's agent calls me on the phone. And I'm not gonna say his name. I'm gonna say his name's Joe. His name's not Joe. He goes, Robert's Joe with Jimmy Hart. I go, hey, Joe. He goes, shush. I'm talking now. I'm like, what the fuck? You called me. How are you shushing me? What is going on?
So rude.
But no, her agent's great. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was a wild idea that had a 3% chance of actually happening, but I'm never afraid to ask.
Yeah. Why not go for it?
Why not go for it? You know what I mean? Like the Bros match, I put up 3 Hail Marys that all didn't pan out, but one of them had a 0.05% chance of happening, but I still threw it up there. Like, hey, want to do this match? It's pretty wild.
And look at what you landed on. I feel like that's yeah.
When we stop recording, I'm going to tell you the 3 ideas. It's going to blow your minds.
Okay.
But no, the girls' matches, the women's matches, I really want to put a spotlight on those 2 matches. Every show, I want at least 2. And I have a daughter, right? So I want to show like badass woman doing badass stuff. You know what I mean? And it's not going to be one match to throw away on the show or 2 girls that wrestle each other 150 times. I'm going to do my best to be very creative with it.
Yeah.
And that, that's where we're at with that.
It feels like the effort is put in if it's a unique matchup and there's more than one.
Yeah.
If you're recycling the same 4 in one singles match
lazy.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. But then like Chico versus the World, that's
Is this going to be the ultimate underdog Chico, where he's just like he's bloodied, his leotard's ripped?
No blood. Leotard. Wow, wild. You're wild for that one. Put that photo back up on the screen of Chico. Holy cow.
He looks hard in that photo, doesn't he?
Oh, this Chico versus the World will be an experience, and then the match that promoters refused to book, myself and Trevor Outlaw. There was real life beef with me and Trevor for a while, and I tried to get Freelance to book it, and they wouldn't. They were scared. They thought I was going to beat him up, and I said, I'm not going to beat him up, but everything will be all right. I'm gonna hit him a little bit, right? So just gonna bloody him up a little bit.
That's surprising. You seem very, very friendly with the cyber bullies. You're trying to guide them to the light,
bro. They are the worst. They are the worst. I said there's an 8-minute version of that Chico promo. The Bang Bros. There's a 6-minute version of that where they're just roasting me for 6 minutes. I said, hey, I got this idea, bros. I want you to cut a promo. You're just making fun of me. And then they're like, oh, yes. And they just wouldn't stop. And there was so much I had to take out. I was like, no, I'm not going to allow you to say this about me.
Is that where the Bang Bros got their material from, where it just kept going like 2 hours?
I just turned the camera on. I said, we'll cut it up. Just start talking crap. And I couldn't get them to stop. I was like, this is the worst idea ever. You know?
I love the dynamic that – because I'm sure – do you have the same dynamic with, like, I think of the freelance. If I think of the freelance roster, I think of it in waves, right?
Yeah.
You're one. We'll say more seasoned. I'm trying to use the right word without making you angry at me. You want to kill me?
Say it.
But then there's like the Isaiah's GPA group that I see, maybe throw in Nick's and like some of the people he started with as well. And then there is this group now that is like really getting into where they're like main eventing stuff basically now.
They're gonna take over.
They're already kind of taking over. So I just love the dynamic that you have with this lower group, where it's like you're so different, but you guys like want the best for each other. And there's a lot like that group. That group shows love by ripping on people. I think like they rip on, like you said, Coda and Alfonso rip on us all the time. For mishaps, and like that's how they show love.
If they don't make fun of you, then they hate you.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Yeah,
that's great.
But yeah, man, the card is stacked. I don't know if I forgot anything.
I don't think so.
No, the card is great. The tying on the bow with the top flight and the bros. That's the one we needed. You know what I mean? Just to put a bow on a perfect scenario of a card. Yeah, man, everyone I believe in every single one of them. I know they're going to kill it. And now it's I take the responsibility because they're holding the date for me, right? They're wrestling for me. And in return, I need to give them the biggest exposure possible. I refuse to just put up a match graphic and say, come to a show. If I expect them to go above and beyond in these matches, I have to do the same for them, right? And I take that responsibility very seriously because I'm one of the boys. I've had promoters not go above and beyond for me. And I did a lot of work for them in my younger years. And that was one of the things when I do these shows, even though they're not monthly, when I do run them, you better believe I'm going to do my best, right? IWTV. The last one I had 3 people taking still photos, 4 people taking videos, right? You're going to get everything shot so you could use it and you could promote yourself. And I take that very, very seriously. And then I hope with Tupu saying, like what Tupu said, I would have drove in for this, right? That shows that the respect that I'm giving them, they're appreciating it and giving it back by doing a lot of hard work. You know what I mean? Like Chico, a lot of people probably don't know this, but me and Chico stood outside at 9 p.m. at the AEW pay-per-view and flyered 200 cars in the parking lot. And then we stood there as everyone was leaving and just handing out flyers to people. And I thought that was going to go off really terrible because I've been in that situation where people give you a flyer and they're like, don't touch it. The third person I gave a flyer to, the guy goes, I already got a ticket to the show, you go. And I was like, oh, I was like, yeah. Yes. And then the 5th guy went to go take the flyer, and then he was like, oh, Rob, I'm like, yeah. He's like, I love your work, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't know about the show. And he's like, you have a show? He's like, me and my wife were there. And they were there. Like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? And then when the herd started coming out, people were literally like, give me a flyer. I want a flyer to it. And we just like, it wasn't pulling teeth. It was people being really receptive to it, which made me feel good because I thought that was going to be a waste of time. And it's an old school thing, standing out at a show, handing out flyers. People don't do it anymore. Back in the early 2000s. Yeah, like in 2002, that was a thing. We would stand outside of Raw or a pay-per-view and hand out flyers to people leaving or flyer those cars. And I was the only one out there because I'm the only one that's stupid enough to do it. And it was very successful, and I felt good about it. And I was like, oh, this is great. You know what I mean? And me and Chico said us flying those 200 cars was probably a waste. We should have just stood there because that's where we had the most interaction. You know what I mean? With the people. But yeah, man, like I'm going to do that. I'm going to stand outside when that pay-per-view got over. It was almost 11 o'clock at night. I'm standing outside flyering it so everyone on the show could have people to wrestle in front of. And they know the show exists. Right. And I take that very, very seriously. I'm not going to do things half-assed or lazy. I already named the company after myself. Like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? So like, I have to take it serious, and I believe in everyone, and hopefully they believe in this stupid thing that I started doing.
Yeah. Like I said, the mentorship role that I think you have, it seems to come natural. I think you do a fantastic job with it.
Thank you.
So props to you for that. But yeah, if you caring, it's just going to have that trickle down effect, and then everyone's going to want to work for you and work hard for you. So that's great. We've gone through the card. Like I said, theforgelive.com for tickets, October 5th. One other thing I wanted to quickly touch on.
Yep.
Sorry about the latest AAW Face the Heat. There's no sarcasm in that. Sorry about the result that happened.
Why you got to bring up shit? Wow!
Because I want to see. It looks like I was trying to be nice about it. It looks like someone was a little bit sarcastic about it in a backstage interview. So I don't know if that's a new level. If that's kind of the route we're going, where another person that you have mentored as well, you might need to teach Joe Alonzo a lesson. That's kind of what it felt like in your eyes when I saw you in that promo. So do you have any comment on that?
Yeah. Wow, man. You got to bring up bad memories while we're talking about good stuff. Yeah, I lost against Beef. The second time I went for the AEW title, and I lost. And then Joe Alonzo, who has everything to thank me for. I gave him his career back. I gave him his life. I gave him everything that he's ever had. I helped him sign to NWA. I helped him and Chucky Smooth, who I have legit heat with, wanted to start. Want to talk some shit. And spoiler alert, we're gonna handle that shit. Let me tell you. You want a quick Chucky Smooth story?
Sure.
I mentioned Carmine Espirito, promoter in Milwaukee, gave me my first chance outside of Illinois to wrestle for him. Ironically, it was tagging with Chucky Smooth, me and Chucky Smooth versus the Skull Crushers of Rashi Brown and Jason Dukes. Now, at the time, there was a company called PCW, Pro Championship Wrestling, in Chicago. That was my home. I was the heavyweight champion for. They were very strict with rules. They didn't want anyone leaving. They only wanted you to stay here. And they said you could only wrestle 30 miles outside of where we run. Milwaukee worked. So when I got that booking, they were like, you can't lose. You're the world champion. I was like, damn. And I'm like, I don't know, 20 years old. Oh, and I was like, this is not going to go well for me. Like, I have to go into this company that no one knows me saying, brother, I can't lose. And I was like, this is going to be bad. So I tell Carmine, I'm like, hey man, I can't lose. I understand this puts you in a bad spot, but I can't lose. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Carmine being the old school vet he is, it's me, Chucky Smooth, Rashi, 7'8", or no, 6'8", jacked, and Jason Dukes, a little smaller, a little rounder. We're all sitting there talking. Carmine walks up and goes, hey boys, this guy can't job. Can you believe that? Have a good match. I was like, oh, I'm fucked. I was like, I am done. This is gonna be real bad. So me and Chucky Smooth get out there, and Chucky Smooth grabs the mic in front of the crowd. He goes, hey, he goes, because he's known for his wild promos. He's like, Carmine told me I'm tagging with this. I was Egotistical Fantastico with this world famous luchador, and I'm thinking El Santo, Rey Mysterio Sr. Instead, he gives me this mark in a high spot max. And I was like, oh no, he's burying me hard. And then he just goes off on me, just burying me on this thing. And then Rashi beats the shit out of me in this match because Chucky hyped him up. He's like, can you believe it, Rashi? He can't lose. How long you been wrestling? And this kid, you can't lose to him. And he got my ass whooped. And I never forgot it. Yeah. So we cut this promo. I'm going to spoil the magic. Camera turns off. Chucky Poo's like, oh, great. He looks at me. I go, Chucky, I never forgot that high spots mask gimmick. I go, you're fucked. I go, get ready. I go, because when we finally do this match, you better run because I'm going to get you. He's like, no, what? Come on, man. That was, what was that, 25 years ago? I'm like, I don't care. And I told Danny Daniels, I go, just so you know, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him, and I'm getting my receipt. 25 years later, I'm getting my receipt. And this is all off camera. And I'm not cutting a promo right now. I'm telling you guys the truth. When I do Wrestle Joe, I'm going after Chucky Smooth.
Okay.
It's going to be, no one's going to know, except for you guys and people that listen to this. The fans are not going to know what's going on. I'm going to slap the shit out of Chucky Smooth and as hard as I can. And I'm going to get him. And then it's going to be like, it's old school. Me and him are old school. It's a receipt, baby. I'm getting you. So that's the hype. If you love wild stuff, I ain't going to hurt him, right? I'm not going to knock him out. He's going to go home safe. But just so you know, I'm slapping him. I'm going to get him. It's going to make me feel good. I feel the blood in my chest right now getting hot because I'm like so excited. Like it's like if it was 2023 and I got to slap Trevor Outlaw, right? When they
what's the temperature in that garage? Hot?
Brother, they wouldn't let me slap him, but I wanted to slap him. But I'm going to slap Chucky Smooth. It's going to be great. Back to the Forge, I'm going to slap Trevor too. And it's going to be like built up like, hey man, we're on the same level kind of really, but no, bam, you're done. But yeah, AAW, me versus Joe Alonzo. I don't know when it's happening, but it will happen because I can't let anyone say the things that he said to me and get away with it. And then, that is what it is. I tell you guys way too much. We're
your outlet until Potting with Ego comes back.
I'm out. Yeah, because I say this on Potting with Ego. Everyone listen to this. Don't be a snitch. Don't go and post, oh, Robert Anthony's going to slap Chucky Smooth. Just let it happen. And just know that the story behind it. Like, laugh. Like, ha, 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 that happened. But my podcast, people are transcribing it to the dirt streets, giving, like, word
nobody
by
talking
word.
away fishing trips,
bro. Oh my gosh, shut up. We went to that on that promo. Did you see that? With
yep.
He's on his fishing trip
with bros.
Easter eggs, right? They were snitching out stuff on the podcast, and I had to tell everyone, like, hey, listen, like, let's keep this between us. So I'm asking everyone that listens to the podcast, let's keep me slapping Chucky Smooth to us. Don't stooge it out. Don't let him get scared. I already scared him once.
We won't clip this.
Don't.
You gotta listen. Okay. There's lots of stuff we're gonna clip.
Yeah.
Because there's been some absolute gems. Rob, you gave us an hour of your time. Thank you so much. We love having you on. And like I said, yes, anytime you want to come on, of course, until Potting with Ego gets back up, it seems like we're a good outlet for that because you got a lot of great stories to tell.
That's all.
No, I don't think so. Rob, an hour for us is that's a good amount. Sure. So we love that. But it's going to be an amazing show. It's going to be a unique show. You're going to see things that you have never seen before.
Right.
And yeah, we're very, very excited for it. Is there anything you'd like to say before Chris takes us home?
No worries, man. At Ego Pro Chicago on all socials. The Twitter kind of sucks because Twitter is kind of dead. But I still post over on there. Instagram is where it's happening. It's where we get the most engagement. I got the Facebook as well. The Facebook. Jesus, I'm old. Wow, I can't believe I just caught that. Oh, bro, I hope the bros and the kids don't hear me say that. Oh, my God. But, yeah, it's over on the Facebook as well. I'm trying to post new content every day leading up to the Forge. Spoiler alert, the trophy, whenever it comes in, will be next, the next little post.
Great.
But I thank everyone that has already bought tickets and people that are thinking of buying tickets. just know that these shows fund the Navarro Farm shows, right? And it makes it so that the kids and their families can go to those shows for free. We do sell tickets to the outside, but everything that I do outside of the farm is to basically fund those because I don't make no money on them. All right, it goes to the boys and it goes to the farm. The farm made a lot of money, which I was super proud of the last time we did it. And the farm is indirectly the reason why I'm doing a lot of these shows. They talked me into it. They will be on the ring skirts, right? I got new ring skirts. So two sides of it will have the Navarro Farm logo. The kids from the farm will be there, like they were last year up in the balcony, watching the show. So if you see any of them, and make sure you say hello because they're huge into interactions and they love wrestling. But yeah, my shows are different, right? Because of that,
Yeah.
right? We have a cause because, like I said, the universes are different, but they all go to the same place, which is doing those shows at the farm, roughly in June, right? Yeah, so forgelive.com, I believe. Please pick up a ticket. Front row is sold out. Second row and third row are almost gone. Balcony is doing great. VIP balcony. But thank you for you guys for having me. Hopefully you hit record. And then thank you to everyone that is thinking about coming. Show up, right?
Yeah.
And then when we get out of this, I'll tell you guys some spoilers. But go ahead.
Yeah, the Forge is kind of like the Avenger movie, and the farm and the baseball are like the movies leading up to it. Where, like, the Avengers movie where it's like they bring in everyone, all the superheroes. That's kind of like what the Forge is. So that's just a Marvel analogy. Go ahead, Chris.
It's all good.
All right. Well, we'll be out at the Forge October 5th. Eagle, once again, thank you for joining us. For everyone, make sure you catch this episode on YouTube. There's some graphics that went up, some reactions, right, that you got to see. So everything is at twoheelsandface.com. Number 2heelsandface.com. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the handles, YouTube at 2heels, number 2 heels and a face.
All right.
That is it. We will see you in Joliet.
See you then.